Hello, and welcome to the second episode of the Peculiar Endeavors podcast. I am Amelie, and I am your host. In this episode, I thought I talk a little bit about myself, where I come from, where I am, some of my interests, and things I've done, just for you to get to know me a little bit better, and maybe this will also give a little bit more context to the topics that I choose to talk about. Although I'm not the most comfortable talking about myself, but I'll try to do my best. I'm sure by now many are a little bit curious about where my accent comes from. And I know that it's probably difficult to guess because I used to get that a lot. I often call myself European because I've been moving around a little bit in my life, and this has resulted in me, I guess, gaining a lot of knowledge as well, but getting a little bit of a strange accent. So I was actually born in Poland, and my grandparents were I had both Polish grandparents and like German grandparents, and there's a little bit of a Swedish there as well. So when I was must have been 7 or so, we moved to Sweden because I had family living there as well. So I grew up in Sweden, so I went to school in Sweden. And even though Polish was my first language, Swedish was the language that I was most comfortable with because I studied in Sweden. And obviously, everybody knows that Swedish schools have very good, you develop a very good English language in Sweden because they do start teaching you English pretty early on. My first teacher, she had a British accent. And then when I was a little bit older, I had a teacher that had an American accent. And I think there was like a clash there. So fast forward, when I was about 20, I moved to Paris. I just ended up there because I thought it might be a good idea to learn some French. I was supposed to stay there for about a year. I ended up staying there half the year because Paris was just not really my thing. So yeah, I used to always had a little bit of like a gothy look. I guess I still do. And yeah, people in Paris, they didn't like it very much. And also they really did not like me not speaking French because I went there to learn French. And it got very difficult. I thought it would be like you learn some French and you use it, even though it's broken, people would appreciate you trying to speak their language, but that was not the case for Paris. So I went back to Sweden and stayed there for a while. During the time in Sweden, my best friend, back then we're still good friends, and he went to London because he got a job, and he was there for about, I think, 6 months before I came to London. And I always wanted to go to London, I think since I was 16, but my mother did not want me to go to London because it was a big city and she doesn't like big cities, so she never let me go. Therefore, I went to Paris instead, and that was, I think, a very big mistake. But, Paris is beautiful, the architecture and all of that. So I can't really say it's all bad. But yeah, people were not very welcoming. But I joined my friend in London. I actually went there to just to see him as a holiday for holiday. But I ended up getting a job there. I'm trying to remember how fast. It was very fast. I just gave out some of my CVs just to see what would happen, and I got a job pretty much straight away. And I remember the job that I really wanted to work for Whistles. There's a shop called Whistles, and back then it was very fashionable and very English looking, and I really loved it. And I got a job at the flagship store, and I thought to myself, I just have to stay here because there is no shop like this in Sweden, and Sweden is so boring to me anyway. So I moved to London. And yeah, I was living there for quite a while. So I moved to London twice, actually. I think the first time I stayed there for about a year and a half, and went back to Sweden for about 8-9 months or so, and just got really depressed and went back to London. So this is why I speak English most of the time, because I believe I have not calculated years, because I'm very bad with dates, years, time. It doesn't really exist in my head, really. But I've been living in London for a very, very long time. I've been in England for a very long time. And I speak English most of the time. And funny enough, my accent is not any better, which is crazy. But as long as people understand what I'm saying, I'm very happy. So basically, I am still in England. Moved out of London because it got a little bit crazy, which we can certainly talk about later. But yeah, so the things I studied in my life was at first I studied fashion because I was really into making clothes when I was younger. Even as a kid, I used to make like clothes for my dolls and stuff. My grandma used to always let me sew and do whatever. I used to also like to dance, and my grandma always told me I should become an actress because I was like that as a child. So when I got older, I chose to study fashion. I did that in Sweden, and I did really enjoy it. I've been making my own clothes since I was 16. I got into it as in just by myself, really. I was really so every year we used to go visit family, obviously. As we moved to Sweden, my family was in Poland as well, and in Germany. And I used to go and visit them either in Germany or go to Poland. And I remember they had these magazines. They were German magazines. They were like magazines for people that love making clothes. And those magazines had patterns in them. And that was like one of the highlights of my holidays was to run around to find as many of these as possible to get the patterns, because I could change them around and do things, and I used to love that. So yeah, I for a very long time I was very, very much into fashion, hence why I think I really liked whistles to start with, and why I've been working with fashion for a long time. But selling clothing and making it is not really the same thing. But hey ho, I think the issue with moving to London as well was that, yeah, I think people get very ambitious, and I think if you don't want to come to London and study fashion, for example, and you think you can just make it by working in shops and, you know, working yourself up to like you really like you have to be really focused, and you should save some money, because I mean, back in the day it wasn't as expensive to live in London as it is now. But the problem I think with London is that you get really caught up in working a lot and not having time or space actually to do other things. And I think this is how I kind of lost making my own clothes and this whole thing of designing and the patterns and all of that, because being in London, I had to live with flatmates. So this meant that I only had my own room and there was just no space. I had no space to do anything. So I guess it was good and bad, but it was my choice. I kind of had to venture out and work, because that's what people are supposed to do, apparently. So I kind of stopped designing clothes, and I was just being myself in London, you know, being this like fashion. No, I was never really like this fashion person. I really wasn't. I just really liked the quirkiness of just English street fashion and all these little shops and stalls. And it was like Spitalfield market and Camden Market. Back in the day, there used to be a lot of designers who had their own stalls making their own clothes. So I was really into that for a long time. So another thing that I studied and worked with as well is visual merchandising, which I found really interesting because it was more of a kind of space thing. I've done it quite for a while, and I really enjoyed it. But yeah, I think London made it as well very hectic. So I kind of started to get more into makeup and things, because I had a few friends that were designers, and it kind of came about that I started doing the makeup for like photo shoots and things. And I just became friends with some other makeup artists as well, so they kind of helped me along. And I studied makeup, and this is when I started working with makeup. I did work as a freelancer at first, but then I got sick. So we'll talk about this later on. And yeah, I got really sick. I got extremely anemic. So I I couldn't really, because when you freelance, you have to work long hours, and I was traveling a lot as well. So I thought it would be better if I just got a job on a counter. So I did that. So I was working for a few brands, yeah. I started working in Harvey Nichols at first. That was like my first like counter job. And then I've been working in Harrods for about 3 years, I think. I was in Harrods for quite a while. I'm quite surprised that they actually accepted me because, I was very surprised. But yeah, and after that, I worked in Fennec. And then after that, I just got so fed up, just so fed up because it was not creative at all. It was like this whole selling and pushing and all of that. So I just got an office job basically. After that, I was happy that they found me, and I actually didn't look for it. They found me. So I took it as a sign, and I just got on board with that, and I thought I'm going to have this job and then do something creative on the side of that, which I did. And I devoted my time to a lot of dancing. I've been doing tribal fusion belly dance for quite a few years. I was very fortunate to be in London when I was dancing because I had the opportunity to learn from a lot of great teachers, and I've been performing in many places, and it's been great. I had training and classes and all of that. I got to know a lot of great people as well, and it's been great for a few years actually to perform, and you have to learn the choreography and the music and stuff. So that was where I spent most of my time until this whole lockdown happened, because obviously we were not allowed to do anything. So yeah, when the lockdowns happened, I was still dancing at home, and this is when I made some videos and things online because that was the thing back then, which I really enjoyed because I enjoyed mostly editing them because I like editing videos somehow. And yeah, but I kind of stopped dancing because of different reasons, really. But I do want to pick it up at some point, but I haven't really decided how, what, and I think I just need to find some inspiring music, really, because I haven't been inspired by music for quite a while now, which is very strange to me, but yeah, I'll get there at some point. But yeah, I mean, during the time of the pandemic, I guess we should call it, and I always been very interested in divination. I mean, since I was a kid, it's been like in my family, and I really liked tarot cards when I was younger, and I came across some tarot card videos on YouTube, and then I decided to do an online course in tarot reading. It was very esoteric and lots and lots and lots of information. And I really enjoy it, and I still enjoy it. That's something that I'm still doing right now. I feel tarot is something very individual to people who are reading. I really like the fact that, everyone kind of reads differently. And also, it's like a never ending study. It's just so much information. And I find it very fascinating. You can use the same deck and you get so many different answers. And yeah, I just find it really fascinating in general. So I'm still doing tarot. Well, yeah, that's a little bit about me. And yeah, I see myself as a very creative person. I think I do always have something that I'm doing. I've been making jewelry as well. And my last project that I'm still working on, I've been making some prints and things for t-shirts and stuff. I just really enjoy doing these kind of things. And yeah, I think it's a little bit different now. Yeah, like I said, I'm not dancing anymore, which I think that is like a big hole that I left. But yeah, I just needed some different outlets and kind of find myself again. And yeah, these are the things that I have been doing. Like I mentioned before, during this time, I did get very sick and I actually had surgery as well. And that was kind of the main reason that I wanted to make a podcast about nutrition and food and things like this, because I just never thought that the food that I was eating could have such big impacts. Because to be honest, I don't. Back in the day, it was the information wasn't really there. I mean, I'm not that old. Unless, you count in vampire years, then yeah, maybe. But I got really, really sick, and I asked the doctors, like, why? Like, where is this coming from? Do you know what? Did I do something? And none of them had an answer. They just said, "Oh, things can just happen." None of them had anything to say, and I really struggled. I will leave this to for another episode. I think that would be more appropriate, probably. But yeah, I did struggle for a while, and now I'm thinking, if I knew then what I know now, I would probably not even have to have surgery, and probably wouldn't have other issues. So yeah, it just made me think that, I wonder how many, specifically women, women are in this situation that I was in. And I wish I knew more then. And I thought, if I make a podcast, because my writing is just not, I just don't have patience to write. And I'm just not a good writer. I tried. It's just, I have also, I'm a little bit sarcastic. I mean, probably a lot sarcastic if you know me. But it's, yeah, I find writing a bit harder. But maybe within a podcast, I will be able to explain what I've been through and tell my stories, and hopefully help someone, or at least, I'm not telling anyone what to do and how to do things. I just want to give maybe a different view, or maybe to something to think about, you know. A different point of view, maybe not very different, but something to think about, and an alternative. And then, you know, everybody can make up their own mind. Yeah, so that's basically a bit about me. And I'm not sure what to do next time, but I'll definitely come up with something interesting because there are so many topics to pick from, and I've no idea which one to choose first. But I hope I will see you in the next episode, and until then, take good care of yourself.